Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Valentine Sports Show. I'm your host, Frank Rampin, alongside Sal Grinstead, here to talk about another week of the college football season. A lot of shakeup this week, Sal. A couple good games like we weren't expecting. Remember, kind of a weird slate this week, but a lot of good games.
We did call it though. We knew it was going to be a little bit of a wild Saturday afternoon.
We did say that, and we both kind of saw the field pretty well. I went 9-1 on my picks this week. You went 8-2. Pretty solid, I'd say. That was a pretty good job. The only game I got wrong was Cincinnati, I believe.
And no, you got that one. You got the Louisville game wrong.
Louisville, yeah. Sorry. Louisville.
Yeah. My other wrong was I picked Iowa State, obviously, and we'll get into that. But boy, am I irritated at those Cyclones.
Weird Saturday. So let's jump right into it. Top of the country kind of stays more or less the same. Ohio State dominated, Oklahoma dominated, Texas A&M dominated. This game kind of was closer in score than it really was on the field. Miami playing Florida State, it really was dominating. Miami kind of controlled this game from start to finish. Florida State got it back to, was a 6-point game to finish it, but that was not indicative of how the game went. Carson Beck and this Miami team just looked overpowering. The defense of Miami looked unbelievable. Tommy Castellanos couldn't get anything going. Couple big turnovers when he's trying to push the ball down the field, but Miami looks like it could be the best team in the country, Sal.
I agree. And like you said, I mean, the score makes it look like a closer game than it was, but Miami was up 28-3 in the fourth quarter of this game. I mean, Florida State had a few late touchdowns to make it look a little closer than it was, but it really, excuse my language, was an ass whooping all day. Miami's bigger, they're stronger. Carson Beck is experienced, and he's playing like it. 20-27, 241 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, they were just better on all facets. But if you're Miami, there is one thing you need to worry about. They are getting penalized up there with some of the best in the country. I mean, they had 12 penalties for 114 yards. And this year they're averaging 8 penalties per game for 63 yards per game. So that's something you're going to need to figure out before it gets to the big part of the season there, those last 4 or 5 games of the year, because you would hate to lose a game on a pass interference or a holding call, So
and that's kind of been their thing. They've been losing game, like they've been good for the past 2-3 years now, right? Under Mario Cristobal, but there always seems to be that weird, out of nowhere, unexplainable play. Like a couple years ago, they were undefeated and they didn't run the ball or didn't take a knee when they could have, and they ran the ball and fumbled. Like I always think about that moment, stuff like that with this new Miami team, but on the field, they look way different. So if they can clean up the penalties, they could be a national championship contender. And they don't leave the state of Florida for a whole nother month. They're going to be in Florida for another month. It's crazy to think about how long they stay in that state. But now the middle rankings of this week got crazy. Penn State, after a massive whiteout game at home against Oregon, where they come back in the fourth quarter, they lose a heartbreaker in double overtime. Get-right game is what you would think, going to UCLA to play an 0-4 team, one of the only teams in the country that had not had a lead all season. We talked about them last week. We said, are they going to be the last team that's defeated? Nope. They turn around and they beat Penn State 42-37. Nico Iamaleava, the announcer Gary Danielson, said he looked like Vince Young, and he did look like Vince Young. 150 passing yards, 150 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns in the air, 2 on the ground. Just ridiculous game from Nico. And they take down Penn State. What happened there?
This game was crazy. It was, when you think of James Franklin, you think of the way their defense has been able to play forever. UCLA was the first team to score on their first 5 drives of the game against James Franklin defense. Wow. It was unheard of. And Iamaleava, like you said, finally came out for UCLA. I mean, obviously, this isn't a great UCLA team. They were 0-4, now they're 1-4. But he had 294 total yards, 5 touchdowns, no turnovers. And if you know me, you know one thing. I do not like Drew Allar. That guy is average at best. He's been there for what feels like an eternity. He should be able to win these games. He should be the guy that's, setting you apart. I mean, you look at his numbers, it's average. I mean, it's good. He had like 278 total yards, 2 touchdowns. But it's like, you expect more from a guy with this kind of experience. He's one of the biggest letdowns for me this entire year, especially when you're projecting him, top 10 in the draft. You want him to be able to win you these ball games.
And he's so weird. He's got the build. He's 6'6". He's got that frame. He looks like he could be an NFL quarterback. And every once in a while, he makes a throw, and they have a drive where it's like, that's it. That looks like it could be a dude, but it's just so few and far between those drives happen. Like, doesn't look like they ever open up the ball passing. I get they have two great running backs, Katron Allen and Singleton, but they need to open up the passing game. Like the whole thing was they finally got skill players. Last year, they had Tyler Warren. That was the only person that could catch the ball for them. They actually have wide receivers now, but it's still like a struggle for them to pass it. They did the game late in the fourth quarter. They got a blocked punt for a touchdown. He made a couple nice throws, but they couldn't stop UCLA.
It's weird. I mean, you look at Drew Aller and his size and his projectability, and your mind immediately wanders to Josh Allen. You know, he's the closest guy size-wise and projectability that you could look at and be like, this is who Drew Aller could be like. But it looks like they're scared to even let him have the ability to throw it because to me, shows he's not good enough. If you don't let your 6'6" quarterback be the guy, he's clearly not the guy, if that makes sense. I mean, it's just a letdown. And every year they expect him to take the jump to the next level. And every year he's just the exact same. 20 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, nothing overwhelming. Not going to really lose you a game, but he's damn sure not going to win you a game.
You could argue that, though. He has lost them a few games, actually, last year in the playoffs and against Oregon. Yeah. But think about this: is his stat 19 for 26, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, that's fine. But based off of the way that game played out, how is he only throwing the ball 26 times? Yeah. They were down the whole time. They weren't doing anything. Like, it was I don't know, very weird. And I talk about the two running backs. Both of them had under 100 yards. Drew Aller was the leading rusher. He had 76 rushing yards. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like you say, you think of Penn State, you think of good defense. You could argue when you think of Penn State, you think of losing the big game. But you don't think about them losing this game. Like, these are the games that they win. They got a lot to figure out there in Happy Valley, and they're all the way out of the top 25, bumped out of the top 25. And speaking of bumped out of the top 25, Florida beat Texas this week in the Swamp, and me and you, Sal, were all over it. Last week, we both picked the Gators, and they took down Texas at home. The Texas offense did not get it going at all. Arch still hasn't looked very good. He threw 2 picks in this game on back-to-back drives. It's not a good outing again for Texas, and the Florida defense, like we said, looked good again.
They're one of the best in the country, and DJ Lagway didn't lose this game for Florida. He actually outplayed Arch, who arguably may have lost the game for Texas. I mean, he played well, 298 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's a great bounce back from, you know, what's stuck in everybody's mind is the 5 interceptions against LSU. And he struggled against Miami too. But winning this game, it almost feels the exact same as it did for the Gators last year.
Last year, yeah.
We've talked about it. Every week, Billy Napier's on the hot seat. And then he just finds a way to win a game he shouldn't win. And now they have a chance next week to beat Texas A&M at Texas A&M. It's such a weird time there in Gainesville. You know, coming into the year, you thought, oh, my God, this team's going to the playoff. Obviously, they have one of the hardest schedules in the country. And then you have the loss against USF. You look terrible 3 weeks in a row, and then you win this game. So it's just – you can never project this Florida team. You don't know what's going to happen on any given Saturday.
It's like as soon as Billy Napier's seat gets just a little bit hotter and like, oh, he loses this one, he's going to get fired. They just come out and play their best game of the year. I don't know how it happens. Last year, he was fired. He was fired. On TV, they were talking about him like he's been fired a month ago. And what did he do? He rattled off like 4 wins in a row against top 25 teams, killed Ole Miss's chances. Jackson Dart looked terrible in that game.
Took out LSU's chances too that year.
Yeah. I mean, just so weird for this Florida team is, but man, they don't back down, don't they?
No. And I mean, the defense, they're going to be the same every Saturday. They're going to just beat down the opposing offense. And like we said last week, if they can find a way to not have their offense lose them games, I mean, I see a world where they could maybe rally off the rest of the year, which is crazy to say. But that defense is that good.
So let's go back. What's today? To October 6th. Let's go back, I don't know, a month and a half to end of August. The 3 most hyped up teams in the country: Texas, Penn State, Clemson. Where all of them are outside the top 25 now. Unbelievable. Those were the top 3, right? Or was Clemson 4? I don't even know. But
Clemson was 4. So Texas and Penn State, they were 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
And I'm glad you brought this up because this is the first time since 1964 where the preseason ranked 1 and 2 teams have lost 2 of their first 5 games and are now both unranked.
Wow.
Absolutely unheard of. Never happened in our lifetime, obviously, but my parents' lifetime. I mean, it's just
And then
unbelievable.
throw in the number 4 team too.
Yeah, and you want to add in Clemson? I couldn't tell you the last time that happened. And I mean, they finally had a win this week against UNC, who is a very bad UNC team. But yeah, just unheard of, and frankly, maybe a little overrated if you look at it now.
It's already been a wild college football season to start. The top 10 is changing what seems like every week, like drastically. 5 teams are in and out every single week. This is just getting started too. We're only in week, 6? Next week's week 7. Whew, we got a lot more time to go in college football. It's going to be a lot of fun. The other ranked matchup this weekend was Alabama-Vanderbilt. The Commodores traveled to Tuscaloosa to play them. Obviously, after that massive game when Vandy beat them, first time ever beating the number 1 team in the country last year when they took down Alabama. This game started off kind of the same. Vandy had this game in control. Ty Simpson threw a pick on 4th down on the first drive of the game for the Tide. And Vandy was going in to go up 14-0. Diego Pavia looked great, and he got tackled, lost the football, and that kind of changed the entirety of the game. Alabama woke up, and Vandy's offense started struggling. Since after that point in the game, Vandy only scored 1 more touchdown, and Alabama scored 30 points. So it was a 30-14 game. That was the final score. It was a lot closer than the score would say because Alabama scored a touchdown with 10 seconds left in the game. But Diego Pavia and Vandy, again, they show you that this is a legit SEC team. They're not just a flash in the pan, one-time team. This is legit. Vandy could be here to stay.
Yeah, and Alabama scored that late touchdown there to make it look a little bit worse than it was, but it was really, 23-14 game. We expected a shootout, and I said, I don't care what the over is, take the over.
Yeah.
Boy, was I wrong. There's defense playing on both sides of the field. And you hit the nail with the hammer right there with the fumble from Pavia. Going up 14-0 changes the complete outlook of the game. And after that point, he didn't throw another touchdown for the day. He only had 151 passing yards. That Alabama defense started to show up after that. And Ty Simpson just continues to play good football after that weird loss to FSU earlier in the year. But again, another 340 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jam Miller, 136 rushing yards. I mean, that guy is a monster.
Him being healthy is a big deal. Him being healthy is a big deal.
That guy is a monster. I would not want to see him in the A game. That's all I got to say.
And speaking of monsters, how about Caden Proctor? Another time touching the ball, 2 weeks in a row, using him on offense as a ball carrier, just bulldozing his way through our defensive line. Just how do you tackle that guy? 6'7", 365 pounds. You got no chance. And so you were talking before, if Vandy goes up 14-0, that game is completely changed. That Alabama crowd probably gets a little restless. There might be some boo birds coming in early in that game. They go down 14-0, and it was 20-14 late in that game. Vandy had a chance to score a touchdown to go up, and Pavia threw a pick in the red zone that led to Bama getting the ball. Long, methodical drive where Proctor had that run. They kick a field goal to make it a 2-score game and kind of put it out of reach. But this was a good game down to the wire.
It was a very good game, and it was fun to watch. It's nice to see Vandy actually playing to what the country is now thinking they are. I mean, obviously you think of Vandy, you think, wow, they could start 9-0. They're still going to struggle. It doesn't matter what they do in the beginning. It's what they do at the end. But they're showing that even against one of the best teams in the country, Alabama, they're going to hold their own all the way through. So it's nice to see, and there's a lot to be happy about for the Commodores. You got a big season ahead of you. You just got to continue to do what you're supposed to do and let Pavia continue to play. I mean, he's going to make a few of these mistakes, but that's who he is. He's a gunslinger. You got to live and die by his arm.
He's a beast. He's got that energy that they need, but we'll see how many. Does he have another year? Does he already get granted another year? I don't even know. But if he's there next year, they're going to be good again. Another good game we saw this weekend. Texas Tech took down Houston. This game started off a little weird, but Texas Tech offense ended up playing well. And Baron Morton and Hammond were both playing in this game, Sal. You mentioned that to me early on during this game.
It was nice to see a package with both of them. Obviously, Baron Morton's going to get the majority of the play. I mean, he had 345 yards on the touchdown. But you could see what Hammond would do when he's in the game when they played Utah. So it's nice to see them both getting some burn out there. The way this game started out, it looked like Houston was going to have a chance. I mean, they turned the ball over a few times in that first half, and Texas Tech continued to get the ball in the red zone, and Houston just continued to give up field goals. 3 field goals in a row from the red zone. So you're like, this is how Houston wants to play, but they never got it going on offense. And Connor Wegman going down obviously hurt them, but I don't think it would have changed the game if he was healthy or not. This Texas Tech defense is the greatest it's ever been. 11.3 points per game through 5 games is unheard of for Texas Tech.
Unheard of for the Big 12, the whole conference.
You think in Texas Tech, you obviously, one of the first things that pops up in your mind is the Mahomes when they fucking, excuse my language, when they gave up like 70 points and he had like 847 passing yards. You think of that team and 0 defense, but this is not the normal Texas Tech team. This is a real team over there, and Joey Aguilar's got them boys fired up.
And you talk about that, like people are talking about their offense. Their offense has been very good, but the defense is really what's been the big surprise this year. It's been fun to watch. Like they're a good team to be reckoned with. They're in the top 10 now. Look out now. Texas Tech.
This is a really good Red Raider team.
All right, let's keep going through the top 25. Another team that jumped back into the top 10 after this past week. Georgia took down Kentucky. You mentioned last week that Georgia never wants to play Kentucky. For some reason, these two teams always play each other well. Georgia handled them pretty well in this game. Kentucky never really got anything going on offense. And Gunnar Stockton has been really, really good. He's in the top 5 QBR throughout the season in college football so far this season. I think he's 3rd.
Yeah, this was a big win for Georgia. You had the letdown last week against Bama. You kind of need to remind the rest of the country who you are and why you're the dogs. And they did. I mean, Kentucky almost beat them last year. They almost beat them every year. And you kind of reminded that whole state over there in Kentucky that we're Georgia. We got Kirby Smart, and we're just going to run through you every single year. And that's what they did. I mean, they're still one of the best teams in the country, and I think arguably the best team in the country. They lose to Alabama every year, so I'm not going to act like that's such a big loss for them. They're used to that. They're going to bounce back, and they're probably going to find a way to win the SEC championship this year.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, they kind of kill everybody in the SEC except for Bama. That's the one team they always have trouble with, and it's every year. It's crazy.
Yeah, and Bama's won 9 out of 10 against them the last 10 matchups. So
why?
Yeah, I mean, you're used to that over there in Georgia.
And they snapped that 33, the longest win streak at home in the country, 33 wins in a row in between the hedges, snapped by Alabama. We actually saw the top 2 win streaks in the country go down last weekend or the weekend before when Alabama beat Georgia and then Washington too. Iowa State, Sal, this one we wanted to talk about earlier. Cincinnati kind of took it to them. They ran for over 200 yards in the first half of this game. I texted you at halftime. I was like, man, this Cincy team is just really taking it to them. 210 rushing yards at half.
They were up big. They were up 16 at half. They had 264 rushing yards on the game, 3 touchdowns. They were getting ready to blow them out of the building. And then Iowa State scores. They were down 16, and this entire second half watching it, I was just irritated at the decisions they were making on the sideline. You're down 16. They score a touchdown early in the third. You know your offense is struggling, but they kicked the PAT, so now they're down 9. Instead of going for 2, trying to get down 8, in the game you know it's probably going to come down to 8 points. And then they get the ball again. If they kicked the PAT, if they went for 2 earlier, they'd be down 8, and then they could have kicked a field goal later on. They went for it, didn't get it. And then you finally find a way to get back in this game, and you have a chance for, a hook and ladder, all the cool stuff you can do late in the game. You never know what's going to happen. We've seen it year in, year out. And this guy runs out of bounds with room ahead of him. This was such a soft performance from Iowa State. And if I'm a AP voter and I see this, they don't deserve to be in the top 25. Cincinnati deserves to be in the top 25 over them. They're 4-1. Their one loss is Nebraska in a tight game. It was just terrible performance. And, I mean, it was just irritating trying to watch them supposedly trying to win this game. It looks like they gave up.
And Sal, when you said they finally kind of got back into the game, like they had a chance, they scored right before the half to like okay, maybe there's a glimmer of hope here. They scored a few more times in the second half to make it somewhat close, and then they gave up an 80-yard touchdown and it was just a backbreaker. First play of the drive after they score. It was kind of over after that.
That was a great pass, too.
It was. Sorsby is the quarterback for.
Yeah.
He's
played a good game, dude.
He played a great game. And
are
they ranked now?
No, they should be. They kept Iowa State in, I believe, at 25 instead of bringing in Cincinnati, which shocks me. I mean, Cincinnati's first team out, but you just beat the number 14 team in the country, and you looked better the entire game. Iowa State hasn't looked good for a few weeks, and you look back at it now, their best win is Kansas State or Iowa. I mean, neither of those teams are great. I would put Cincinnati in over them if I was a voter.
I think I would too. A couple more teams that took care of business. Michigan, after kind of a slow start against Wisconsin, took care of it 24-10. Notre Dame didn't have the performance we thought they were going to have against Boise State, but Boise State's defense looked really good. Goal line stand to start the game. They hung around, but 28-7, the Fighting Irish finished that game off. Illinois took down Purdue. This was kind of a weird game to start too. The Boilermakers scored early. We're hanging around. I said last week, why is the spread so big? I guess in the beginning, I was like, oh, maybe this is why, but Illinois took care of business. Virginia, Louisville, very good game this was. Back and forth, game time field goal late, and then a big time force of a field goal in overtime that led to a win for Virginia.
Yeah, this was a great game to watch. Louisville kind of stormed back in that fourth quarter, scoring 10 points to tie it up there. This is Virginia's first 3-0 start in the ACC since 2017.
Wow.
They're playing great football, and Louisville was favored like 6.5, especially after that win for Virginia last week. You'd think they'd be riding high. They got to go on the road against a really good 4-0 Louisville team. So everybody kind of expected Louisville to win this one. And they did outgain them in yards significantly, but their 2 turnovers really hurt them. And they allowed Virginia a chance to win this game, and they hurt them in overtime. I mean, it was a great game to watch.
That Miller Moss pick was a backbreaker, man. That was a terrible play. That looked like the Carson Wentz experience sort of thing. Like he was trying to make a play happen last. Like, what do I have to? That was just a rough play there, and kind of came back to hurt him in the end, obviously, as they lose by 3. All right, so that rounds up the top 25. Any other unranked matchups you want to mention in this one? Kind of besides that, a lot of kind of handed victories by teams. And teams
I do want to mention the Mississippi State at Texas A&M game. This was kind of supposed to be a little hyped up matchup, but A&M rolled. I mean, they went 7 of 15 on third downs, opposed to Mississippi State's lousy 1 for 10, 264 more yards. They ran all over them, 303 rush yards, 17 more minutes of time of possession. This Texas A&M team is legit, and Mike Elko has them boys playing. Another kind of unranked matchup I want to mention from last
Texas
week.
A&M defense, real quick. Unbelievable. Nobody can move the ball against A&M. It's ridiculous.
That's a really good team, and they are obviously going to have their work cut out this weekend with Florida. I expect a big defensive matchup, but last time we expected that for Texas A&M, it was Texas A&M Notre Dame, and that was a shootout. So you should have your hands full over there. Another kind of cool game from the weekend. It was our first snow game of the year.
Oh, yeah.
UNLV at Wyoming. UNLV improves to 5-0. They won by 2 touchdowns. And they won by 2 touchdowns because they had 2 blocked punts returned for touchdowns. So awesome game to watch. I mean, I have this one on my screen with all the other games going on too, because God, if you don't love a snow game, you don't really love football.
But a snow game on October 4th, that's kind of unheard of. That was you texted me and said it's a snow game. I was like, oh my God, no way. Immediately have to get that thing in the quad box right now. Like, what are we doing? But I was not expecting that in the beginning of October.
It was beautiful, man. Love that.
All right, Sal, before we get into our next week's game, let's talk a little bit about the new top 25. So the top of it really stays the same, except for Penn State and Texas falling all the way from the top 10 to out. So a lot of teams in that teen area just slid up a little bit, but Ohio State still stays at number 1. They moved Miami back ahead of Oregon. So kind of Oregon and Miami playing like fight for spot number 2 here, 2 and 3. Ole Miss stays at 4. A&M up to 5, which that is not talked about at all. Maybe the least talked about top 5 team in the country that I remember in the last 5 years. Nobody's talking about them.
I would agree with that. And they're
Oklahoma, they beat Kent State this week. Still don't have Mateer. Probably going to have to play Texas next week without Mateer, so that's going to be interesting. Indiana up to 7. Bama, Texas Tech, like we mentioned, and Georgia rounds out the top 10. So pretty formidable top 10. A lot of teams that we've talked about a lot. LSU, Tennessee, Georgia Tech up to 13. Very interesting there. Missouri, they're playing Bama this weekend, right? That could be an interesting game. Michigan, Notre Dame there, 15-16. Illinois there still. BYU, some Big 12 representation in there. UVA up to 19. How about that? When's the last time Virginia was in the top 20? And then Vandy at 20. Arizona State, Iowa State still in there at 23. Two newcomers with Memphis and South Florida, and then they kept Florida State in at 25. Wow.
Yeah, Memphis and USF represent for the American.
Yeah.
USF's not undefeated anymore, but Memphis, undefeated Group 5. Remember they had that big win earlier in the year against Arkansas. Kind of kept them in the hunt, and they're still in it. And they're kind of giving it a bid here. Love to see it.
All right, so now let's dive into this upcoming weekend, Sal. So you got some matchups for us to keep our eye on in Week 7.
Yes, we had 10 matchups last week, and like you said, you went 9-1, I went 8-2, so I'm kind of looking to catch up on you this week. We got another 10 more matchups lined up for us.
No big deal.
We're going to start us off here with USF number 24 going on the road to a forgotten about Group of 5 team, the 5-0 North Texas. And I would love to say North Texas kind of wins this one, but I think USF is a much better team. They've played much better competition throughout the year. So I think they're going to find a way to win this one and continue to kind of slowly creep up those rankings.
So this game's at North Texas, right? South Florida, like we just mentioned, just jumped into the top 25, number 24. North Texas is favored. And you remember what I said last week about these teams getting favored in a questionable situation? I'm taking them. Give me they're like the mean green, right?
Yeah.
North Texas, I'm taking them. Give it to me. And did you see last week one of their fans?
No.
Noon kickoff, right? They're beating the hell out of a team. Fans are starting to dwindle out, dying. Some dude knocked out, hammered, just absolutely down for the count, swaying all over the place. Give me North Texas.
They party over there. I like that.
Yeah, they do.
We'll stay with a little ranked versus unranked right now. We'll go to NC State at number 16 Notre Dame. This NC State team is 4-2 and kind of forgotten about in the ACC, but Notre Dame's playing good football, and they know exactly what they have to do to get to the playoff. They got to blow these teams out. CJ Carr's playing better football. He's playing really good. I think Notre Dame wins this one big at home.
I'm going to agree with you there. Like you said, Notre Dame, no more slip-ups, already have 2 losses, can't afford another one, especially to a NC State team. So I think that Fighting Irish are going to win this one big.
Another kind of fun matchup and another forgotten about team is number 21 Arizona State going on the road at Utah, which is a very, very tough environment to play. Arizona State's trying to find a way to go back-to-back Big 12 champs, but I think Utah is going to put a hurting on that, and Devin Dampier is going to have a day. Utah is going to win this one, jump to 5-1, and jump back into the top 25.
This one is interesting. I haven't been impressed at all, honestly, with Arizona State. They haven't really done much to impress me, and Devin Dampier has. He had a shaky, who is that? Against they played terribly against Texas Tech, but we mentioned that defense is unbelievable. They turned the ball over a ton in that game. But that's really the only game that I saw Devin Dampier look kind of overmatched. So I think I'm going to take the Utes here at home, big environment. I agree with you. Get back into the top 25.
Another fun matchup. It always feels like it comes down to some miracle for them to win this game, but it's number 10 Georgia against the team that always has the miracle, Auburn, at Auburn. I would love to say there's going to be another miracle this weekend, but Georgia is going to roll these boys.
Yeah, I mean, Auburn is that team, that always once in a while can bring down. Like last year, they beat Texas A&M at home in that crazy 7 overtime game.
Yeah.
Obviously, you think back to the kick 6 and all those wild finishes, but this Auburn offense really hasn't done much for me. I feel like Jackson Arnold takes 8 sacks a game. Tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like I see him on the ground every week. This Georgia defense hasn't been so good so far, but I think they have a big game against Auburn on the Plains. Take them down. Sorry, War Eagle.
Another fun matchup is going all the way to the Big Ten. Number 15, Michigan, who's playing really, really good against at USC, who is kind of forgotten about after their loss to Illinois. This could be a really, really fun matchup. USC is 4-1, on the cusp of being back in the top 25. Michigan's defense is playing unbelievable, and like we mentioned earlier in the year, Bryce Underwood and this offense is only going to get better week in and week out. I don't see a world where they go and they lose at a USC team.
I mentioned sort of this stat earlier when we were talking about who was it? I can't remember at the moment. We were talking about quarterbacks. I said top 5 in QBR. Number 1 in total QBR in the entire country, Jaden Mayava. This USC team has been very good so far this year. And again, Sal, number 15 team, Michigan, coming off a massive win on the road at USC. USC is a 2.5-point favorite. Give me the Trojans.
Wow. I like that. Another ranked versus unranked matchup, the last one of those we're going to get into, is the Red River rivalry. Number 6, Oklahoma without John Mateer against Texas in Dallas, the Cotton Bowl. This is going to be such a fun one. I mean, Texas drops out of the top 10 and out of the top 25. Oklahoma had a convincing win against Kent State. I mean, we could have beat them 2 versus 11. It's going to be fun, but I actually think Arch and Texas are going to win this game.
Wow. It's funny you say this is our last one we're going to pick, ranked versus non-ranked team. It's funny to say that. Like, Texas definitely should be ranked. Like, it's kind of crazy to even think about that they're not. And it could be a top 10 matchup. This was number 6 versus number 7 last week now, and Texas falls all the way out of the top. Or sorry, number 9. But I don't know, man. Like, we talked about it last week. Florida's defense is unbelievable. Oklahoma's defense might be better. This could be the best defense that Arch plays all year. Like, he's played Ohio State, he's played Florida, now he's playing Oklahoma. Another very, very tough test in Dallas. Obviously, at the Cotton Bowl, it's going to be split fans. Give me Oklahoma.
The reason I picked Texas here, it seems like the winner of the Red River rivalry every year is the team you don't think is going to win.
You're right. That's true. But another thing you got to think about too, Mateer's probably not going to be playing. It's not confirmed, but John Mateer is probably not going to be playing. So Michael Hawkins is going to be quarterbacking for
who is very good. Don't get me wrong, but John Mateer has been the heart and soul of this Oklahoma offense.
But Kent State, Texas, a little different. So we'll see what happens, but I think Oklahoma's going to take them.
I agree. Well, I actually don't agree.
You disagree.
Yeah, Texas. Give me the horns. Number 1, Ohio State, going on the road at number 17, Luke Altmaier in this Illinois Fighting Illini team. He's playing great football. I mean, we talked about it. He was one of the last quarterbacks this year to not throw an interception. But Ohio State is just such a great team. Julian Sang, Jeremiah Smith. This team, they might roll them at Illinois. They really might. I don't know the spread on this game, but I would take Ohio State over the spread.
Ohio State's favored by 14.5 here on the road. And this is finally like a marquee matchup, like big name matchup. It's going to be big noon kickoff next week. So Gus Johnson on the call. I feel like last year he called every Ohio State game. This year he hasn't gotten a single one. I feel like I haven't seen Ohio State in primetime at all since week 1. So it's going to be nice to actually watch them play because they've just been demolishing teams. And it's like, oh, that game's over. Let me put something else on that matters. So I think Ohio State's going to roll again, but it's going to be nice to see them on TV this week.
I agree. I mean, after that Texas game, I haven't really watched them play because
me either.
They're playing like I mean, I don't want to offend anybody, so they're playing some terrible teams. But yeah, it'll be nice to see them actually have a little competition on the other side of the field, and like you said, nice to see them on actual TV.
Yeah, with
another fun matchup. Another fun matchup is Alabama number 8 going on the road at number 14 Missouri, who is playing good football. Bo Prebula is playing great. Alabama, I mean, it's Alabama. They're not going to lose to Missouri, right? Yeah, nah, they're not. Give me the Roll Tide.
So you talked about how you don't really like Drew Aller. Did Penn State make a mistake letting Bo Prebula go away? Because he's been playing some good football for Missouri.
He slings it, dude. He slings it.
And he can run. He's been very good for them. They just came off a bye. They just came off a bye. So I haven't seen them play in a couple weeks, and they killed UMass before that, 42-6. So they haven't really played a big game in about 3 weeks when they took down South Carolina. And at the time, that was a massive game because South Carolina was still looked at as one of the best teams potentially in the SEC. So this Missouri team has been probably a pleasant surprise so far this year, but I don't think they've seen a team as well-rounded and as really just good skill-wise as this Alabama team. Give me the Crimson Tide.
I agree. I mean, they haven't really played anybody, which means they're kind of forgotten about. I mean, nobody has talked about Missouri all year. I mean, you can turn on any talk show. They're not going to talk about Missouri. But with that being said, I think they're going to keep it closer than a lot of people think against this Alabama team. And maybe surprise a few people. I don't think they're going to have enough to upset them. And if they do, it'll probably be another field storm. But I don't see them being better toe-to-toe against Alabama, but I think it's going to be fun to see them play some good competition.
They're going to have to control the clock if they want to have a chance to win this game. They're going to have to control Jam Miller.
Yeah, and any turnover you have is going to really hurt you. I mean, you can't turn the ball over against great teams. I'd say I don't know what College Game Day is, but I would assume this is College Game Day. I mean, it's the biggest game of the week. It's a top 10 matchup. Number 7, Indiana, the Hoosiers, at number 3, Oregon Ducks, over in Eugene.
I think that's game day. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I would hope it is. I mean, it's definitely the biggest matchup of the week. And with that being said, I'll let you pick this one first, Frank.
So I've been thinking about this one for the past couple of days because this is one of the few games I saw. They were talking about it before the games even ended on Saturday. This is going to be an interesting game because, I mean, for the past 2 years now, Indiana's kind of been like the surprise team. You don't really expect them to be good, especially last year. Like Indiana, historically, one of the worst college football teams in the country. Not so much as of late. Fernando Mendoza, is he still the Heisman frontrunner?
He is.
He's been unbelievable so far. That offense has been unbelievable so far. And when they played their big test so far this season, Illinois, their defense dominated. They killed them
63-10.
So I'm kind of tempted to take the Ducks here, but I mean, Indiana, are they different now? Like last year, they couldn't win the big game, right? They couldn't play up to the Ohio States, the Oregons, teams like that. Can they do it this year? I don't know. I think I'm still going to take the Ducks. I'm going to go Oregon, but I'm going to take Indiana to cover the 7.5 point spread.
Yeah, Fernando Mendoza being the Heisman frontrunner, I think that is all going to change on Saturday. It feels like any big regular season game for Oregon. Dan Lanning has these boys firing on all cylinders. I mean, I could see a world where this game is an absolute blowout in Oregon. I mean, you've seen it so much. You saw it against Colorado a few years ago when such a hyped-up matchup for the Pac-12. You saw it you see it every year. It's crazy. I could see them absolutely destroying them. So I'm actually going to take the other side of it and have Oregon covering the spread.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Oregon blows them out. I do love this Indiana team. I love Mendoza. I love Kurt Signetti. I just don't think they have the talent to go toe-to-toe against the number 3 team in the country.
And it seems like if we're right here, Sal, there's going to be a switcheroo at the top of the Heisman watch, and Dante Moore will probably be the favorite.
Yeah. Got a little few more fun things for you here. There is still 4 undefeated group of 5 teams. 3 of them are from the American. We've mentioned them before. Navy is 5-0. They had the big win against Air Force last weekend, 34-31. Number 23, Memphis. They just jumped into the rankings. They're 6-0. We also mentioned their big win against Arkansas earlier in the year to keep them undefeated. North Texas, 5-0. They play USF this weekend, so they look to kind of take a little front runner in the American. And then a fun team that we've already mentioned, and they just continue to win these close games, is Dan Mullen and that UNLV Rebels team, 5-0. They had the first snow matchup of the year, man. They're such a fun team to watch. But there's 4 undefeated teams, and, man, could one of them be the group of 5 team and make the playoff? We'll have to see.
Speaking of one of those teams, Navy, did you watch that game at all?
I did.
How about they threw 8 receptions, 283 yards, and 2 touchdowns? I'm forgetting the guy's name. It was like Hershiser or something. It wasn't Hershiser. It was close to, it sounded like a legendary baseball pitcher. That's why I just said Hershiser. But it was something like that. 283 receiving yards as a wide receiver for Navy. That's unheard of. That's insane.
Yeah, that's awesome.
School records, obviously, all across the board. Just insane. But how about that? Blake Horvath ran for over 100 and threw for 285 yards to one receiver.
Man, college football is just so much better when the armed forces are clicking on all cylinders. It's unbelievable to see. The triple option gets going. And when you're that good at a triple option, it kind of opens up that pass there for you.
Oh, yeah.
So it's nice to see. There are still 3 teams this year without a win. I mean, we saw UCLA get off this list last week with the big win against Penn State. But your pick of Sam Houston, they're 0-5, still in there at the winless column. Oregon State 0-6, and my pick of the UMass Minutemen to lose 30 in a row. They're still defeated as well at 0-5. So we'll have to tune in this weekend so you can win the winless bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Who's playing on Saturday?
Who's playing?
I don't know who's playing there.
But I thought you meant they were playing each other. I was like, oh, no way.
That would be kind of fun, though. Hopefully that's like a Week 12 matchup.
Oh, that'd be
0-11
awesome.
Sam Houston versus 0-11 UMass.
That'd be awesome. I hope so.
Be a great one. We'd have to go to that one, huh?
Maybe. And you said UNLV, they're 5-0. At least one team that plays at Allegiant Stadium had some wins.
Yeah.
This team behind me is pretty terrible. But, yeah, that wraps up this week. So, you got anything else?
I don't think so. I mean, this is going to be just such a great Saturday of college football. I mean, if you weren't like such a big fan, you kind of would think last week maybe a bit of a letdown when you look at the schedule. It obviously overperformed, but this weekend there's not going to be any kind of letdown whatsoever. There's so many ranked matchups, so many good matchups. I mean, even the ones we didn't mention, there's a bunch of Big 12 matchups going on. Just a great weekend, and I hope you're ready.
Oh, I'm ready, Sal. Always ready for a college football Saturday. So hope you enjoyed this week, going over week 6, talking about week 7. So until next time, Sal Grinstead, Frank Rampin, peace out.